All right, amazing fourth grade families. I am sure you are just as excited as your teachers because fourth grade is officially moving to SeeSaw and life is about to get a lot easier for all of us. If you haven't already, pause this video and go back and watch Mrs. Boswell's video explaining how to get SeeSaw loaded onto your student's iPad and registering your child for their teacher's class. It's okay, pause this video and come back when you're done. If you do have that step already completed, then you're ready for this video, which is going to walk you through the organization of SeeSaw, how it works, what your child will see every day when they log in, and that'll be consistent whether you are virtual or hybrid. If you're in Mrs. Schumann's class or Mrs. Houston's class or Mrs. Boswell's class, your child will see the same layout when they walk through their SeeSaw. So without further ado, let's get started. Before we dive into SeeSaw, I'm going to take a moment and talk about two other apps that your child will need to be successful with virtual learning. The first is Google Drive. It is a triangle with a yellow, green, and blue side, as well as Google Slides. It also has the same white backdrop with a yellow piece of paper with a folded edge. These two apps will assist with SeeSaw and help your child turn in their assignments. If you do not see these two apps under Foundation Apps or anywhere else on your child's iPad, you'll want to go back into their Moisel Manager where they're able to download these apps. Make sure you scroll down until you find the icon that you're looking for. If you have those preloaded, then we're ready to dive into our class app. You're going to notice right away that you see a notification bubble. This represents how many assignments your teacher has assigned to your student. Now, don't be alarmed by this number because this represents how much is being uploaded within an entire week. This is not what needs to be accomplished that day. Now, we're going to run through a typical day of what your fourth grader is going to see when they log into SeeSaw. Their first main page is called their journal. This is where they're going to submit a lot of their assignments, and it's going to be the very first thing they see when they open up the SeeSaw app. You're also going to notice these notification bubbles. Don't worry about the large number 21. This is not what they have to accomplish in a day. These are just all of the assignments and pieces of content that your teacher has uploaded in a week batch. But it's helpful because when Friday rolls around, you're going to know exactly how many different things are unviewed or have not been worked on yet. So when they open the main page, the first thing you'll want your child to pay attention to is their agenda. Their agenda is color-coded by subject, and there's a black box at the bottom if your child needs some extension or some extra things sprinkled throughout their day. So we're going to start with reading because that's the first subject that your child will work on virtually. Watch and respond to your teacher's read aloud. Read and listen to Chapter 1 of Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. Open and do the Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing NearPod lesson. So your child needs to accomplish 3 things in reading today. So I'm going to go over to my activities. Now, if I only click on activities, I see the activities for the entire week, and that's very overwhelming. I only want to know what I have to work on for that day. So I'm going to click on To Do, where there's a picture of a folder, and then I have the option to be specific and choose which day of the week I'm working on. I'm going to choose day 1, Monday. And now I can find the assignments that I need just to complete for that day. The first thing in my journal is to read and watch and respond to the read aloud. So I'm going to go over to the read aloud, to do Monday, and I'm going to watch this read aloud. You can either read the instructions directly, or you can have the instructions read to you by clicking on this play button. When you have finished watching Mrs. Boswell's read aloud, you're going to return to your main page in your journal where you can add a video. So I clicked on the green add and the video button, and this allows me to record a response to Mrs. Boswell. So we no longer need to use Flipgrid because Flipgrid is housed within our SeeSaw app. When I'm finished with my video, I'll submit and I'm ready to start my next assignment. Read or listen to Chapter 1 of Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. Your child has this book independently, so there's nothing on SeeSaw that they need to read. They read Chapter 1 of that book at home. If your child is struggling to read Chapter 1, that's when your virtual classroom will come in handy. We are no longer housing all of our assignments in here, But the virtual classroom will still exist for those extra links to assist your child, whether it's something extra they need in their day or if they need a little help with something else. So for example, if they want to listen to Chapter 1 of Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, they would click on the virtual classroom and they would access it by clicking on the icon in the bottom corner shaped like two chain links. This will open up the virtual classroom in a new tab, and they can access the read aloud by clicking on language arts, then reading, and now these links will play YouTube videos reading aloud the chapters of Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing to them if they are stuck. When they have finished independently reading Chapter 1, then they are going to open and do the Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing NearPod lesson. So again, click on Assignments, open the day of the week that you want, and find the NearPod lesson. Again, we can have the instructions read to us or we can read them independently. And when we are ready to start the NearPod, we click on the link, and this will open up the NearPod lesson using that icon. Now, hopefully, when they open up NearPod, because it's a direct link, it's going to take them straight to the lesson. They would just need to type in their first name. If for any reason, though, they are not sent directly to the lesson, the code to that lesson is also embedded in the instructions for that NearPod assignment. In writing, they're going to complete the qualities of good writing activity, which they would find in their activities under day 1 again. Now, we want your child to have the option of either writing on SeeSaw or writing on paper, whichever is more comfortable for them. So I'm going to give you an example of when they can choose when to write on paper or on SeeSaw. So let's say it's actually Wednesday. We have an assignment on Wednesday where the students are going to be brainstorming ideas for writing by building a heart map. So when they open up their heart map assignment, again, they can have the instructions read to them. When they're ready to add a response, when they click on it, they can digitally create a heart map by drawing or using text tools. Now I'm going to delete this one because I don't want this to be under this student's records. Now, if your child isn't comfortable drawing or typing on that screen quite yet and they would rather do the assignment on paper, that's totally fine. Instead of adding a response here, what they would do is they would go back to their journal and they would just take a picture of the heart map that they built on that piece of paper. So when it comes to writing class, your child has a choice of whether they want to do that on paper and submit a picture or do it directly through the SeeSaw app. For math, they're going to start each day by practicing their multiples. Their multiples still live inside of their virtual classroom. So again, they would open that virtual classroom, click on the chain link at the bottom, and they will open up the math room where the multiple songs live. Now, when they finish their multiples, they would return back to SeeSaw, back to their activities, under the day that they need to find their math lesson. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the math lesson because Mrs. Boswell has actually created a separate video that they will watch tomorrow on how to do a math lesson, but remember that it lives in the same space for their activities. Their math lessons are going to be utilizing Google Drive and Google Slides. So for them to be able to use their slides, it's important that they have those apps downloaded. Here's an example of what their assignment would look like. They would open it, click on the link, and it would immediately be sent to Google Slides. They would need to press present in Google Slides to watch it through. Again, Mrs. Boswell is going to explain in more detail how to do this, but I want to illustrate how important it is for your child to download Google Drive and Google Slides before they start working with SeeSaw. Their last assignment of the day is social studies. Complete the push and pull activity. They would go to activities, again, choose the day of the week that they would like, until they find that push and pull factors activity. So this has been a run through of SeeSaw for one day. You can always check and see if your child has done all their assignments by going through this daily checklist. We will upload a new checklist each day to help you organize your child's assignments. And by the end of the week, if you're unsure if your child has any unsubmitted work, check their activities and see if they have a notification. You can also directly speak to your teachers by sending them messages through the inbox, and your teachers can send class announcements out there as well. We will still be utilizing email as our direct form of communication, but know that this is also an option for you as well. And that's SeeSaw. If you have any questions, remember that we have parent night coming up, and it's a very intuitive app, so your child's going to feel more comfortable the more that they practice with it. But again, know that your teachers are always available for any questions that you may have along the way. Good luck and play around.